can an investor that has always invested in performing notes invest in non-performing notes, and why? Stay tuned. Thanks for tuning in for this week's edition of Note School TV, where every week, when at 11:05 Central Time, we bring you amazing content and amazing guests. And when I say amazing guest, we have another amazing guest today. She's an amazing lady, been in the business for a while, but more about her, and I'll introduce her in just a minute. So before I do that, let's, three things, right? Number one, if you like what you see, make sure and hit that like button. Just boom, just tap it and then let us know that you like it. Number two, if you have not already subscribed to Note School TV, make sure and hit that subscribe button. And then number three, hit that bell notification, right? Yes, go ahead right now and hit that bell notification so that you will get advance notice before we go live. When? Every Wednesday at 11:05 Central Time, right? And also, please, guys, keep the comments and the questions coming. Eddie and I absolutely love those, the comments about our guests and topics and all of that. It really, it helps us out. And it's great feedback from you guys, and we certainly appreciate that. Also, if you would like to know more about Note School and what we do at Note School, simply go to noteschool.com/TV. Again, noteschool.com/TV. With that, well, let's bring on the news. So this week in the news, well, there's a lot going on. And guys, here in about an hour, Fed Chairman Jerome Powell will, they will announce they'll announce what the results of their September FOMC meeting, the Federal Open Market Committee meeting. So it has been rumored that the Fed is going to go from 75 basis point jumps, or 0.75% jump in the Fed funds rate, up to 100 basis points, or 1 full percent. So we will know in just a little bit. I haven't had a chance to talk to Jay this week, right? It's a joke. I talk about Jay Powell so much, or Jerome Powell so much, it's kind of like become the joke in the office. But what we know right now is that, let me get my pen going here, is that the Fed funds rate, right, is 2.5%. The Wall Street Journal prime rate is 5.5%. And the 10-year Treasury, the T-bill, right, the Treasury is 3.44. And then, guys, the interest rate, the mortgage interest rate on a 30-year fixed is 6.2. So you can see how this kind of lines up there. The mortgage interest rate is basically what the 10-year Treasury bill, the T-bill is, plus whatever risk that the lenders decide to place on a loan, right? So if it's 100 basis points, this will go up to 3.5. The 10-year T-bill will probably go up as well. So we'll see. It's an exciting afternoon, and we'll see what happens with that and talk about that next week. One of the other things I wanted to talk about here was this was Fortune, and I know this is one of three, but this is the piece that I really wanted to get out there. It's interesting when we look at how listings, this is according to Realtor.com, this was reported in Fortune, but look at how this was August, right? And then this is so far in September. So what that means is active listings are dropping. And the reason they're doing so is people are going, number one, they see prices adjusting a bit. And they're like, okay, we're not going to lower the price of our house, number one. And then number two, if we do, and we've got a 3% rate because we financed it refinanced it a half a year ago, or bought it a half a year ago, why would we refinance and pay a higher rate? So that's what that looks like. The good news is that, well, it'll keep prices at a level basis, because again, it will keep inventory lower if rates are up. So that's what they are. That's what we see. Also, I reported this last year, but since we're going to talk with our guest today about non-performing loans, just wanted to point out that Fannie just announced another sale of non-performing loans. It's 5,780 loans with an unpaid principal balance of almost $960 million. That is a drop in the bucket or button, when we know that somewhere between 2.5 and 2.6 million non-performing or defaulted loans out there in the system. And here's the last one. This is foreclosure starts reach pre-pandemic levels. Lenders foreclosed on 23,952 properties in August. That's up 187% from last year, but that makes sense because the foreclosure process, the moratorium, had just dropped off. So you can see that the 100 least foreclosure starts, Oklahoma, Tennessee, and then areas where the granular level, greater number of foreclosure starts in August. So that is the news for this week. So with that, let's see here. Boom. Let's bring on our guest today. Our guest is Sophia Jones. So we'll get her on here, and she is a very nice lady from Adelphi, Maryland. There you are. So did I say that correctly, Sophia?
Adelphi,
Maryland.
Right outside of College Park.
Right outside of College Park, Maryland. And then you were talking, and you're only about 20 minutes or so from DC, right?
Correct.
Yep. Well, that's a great place. And so has it started cooling off at all?
Yeah, it's starting to cool off. Yeah, it's been in the 70s or so most of the day, the last few days. Yeah, it's starting to cool off.
Well, it is still, I'm in South Florida, and it is still rainy and humid and hot. I can tell you that right now. So so Eddie started in the note business in 1980. I started in 1990, and you started in 2002 doing performing loans. And we all started the same way, and that was brokering performing loans. So let's talk to us about that just a minute, when you started and how that was. And then, so yeah, give us a little insight onto what that was all about.
Okay. So yeah, I started in 2002. I was in technology, information technology, software engineer, network engineer, that kind of stuff before. And in 2002, I started in the note space under a program called the Note Network.
Okay. Yep.
And I did, basically it was brokering mom and pop seller finance deals. So I would go do courthouse research or find get a list or whatever of notes that have been created, contact the homeowner and see if they want to sell. And then I would broker those deals and sell them to the different entities that were purchasing them and make a fee.
So you said something a second ago that let's call ourselves veteran note investors. Mm-hmm. You said something about courthouse research. If you've never done research.
Yep, bunch of courthouse research.
So guys, I remember in our local courthouses when it was the book, right? You had the book, and you had everything that was recorded, you went to the books, and then it went to microfiche, right?
Yep.
You remember that? You had to get out and put it in there.
Yep. I've done all of that.
Yep. But what you were looking for people that, just like I was, and you were looking for folks that had, mom and pops that had sold their houses with seller financing.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. And so you'd contact them and say, hey guys, we're in the business of buying notes, and if you'd like some cash or like to cash out, and then you'd simply broker those notes. And it was like, some of the hot shots, so we call them ninjas at note school, right? That flip houses. Well, you flip notes, and I flip notes.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Yep, I think it's easier to flip a note than it is a house. What do you think? I
think so too. Much easier, much quicker.
Right. You don't have to deal with the property. You don't have to deal with all of that. And as a matter of fact, you'll meet Justin Bogart. We'll talk about Note Expo here in just a minute, but you'll meet Justin Bogart. He was our guest last week, and gosh, a couple years ago, Justin flipped 50 notes.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. He's over in Indianapolis. So anyway, so let's then talk about. So you were wholesaling, flipping notes, and then you decided back sometime early in the year, right? You came to one of our 3-day classes in March. So tell us about what was the shift, why Note School, and then what made you move that way?
Well, I'm also a realtor, so I saw that the market was shifting. Yeah. I saw that the signs were there, like they were back in 2008, 2009, 2010, that there was going to be a default market. Mm-hmm. So I had only done mom pop performing before, and that's really what I owned my knowledge was.
Right.
So I wanted to learn about how to do non-performing and also partials. I wanted to learn about partials as well, although I haven't started that part yet, but also wanted to learn partials and non-performing. I'd heard of, because I've been in the business for a while, I've heard of Eddie Speed long time ago, but never really didn't see a need, I guess. It didn't really want to. As a matter of fact, I was kind of afraid of non-performing. I love them now, but I was kind of afraid of non-performing because I didn't understand them. So back in the beginning of this year, I sought to get some education and find out more about non-performing. That's what led me to Note School.
It's funny, Sophia, when people say, well, what are you focusing on now? And I'm focusing on non-performing notes. And they look like you have 6 heads, right? It's like, you're buying loans that people aren't paying on.
Right. Yeah. And that was me not too long ago.
And there's a one-word answer to that when they ask you why, and you can say price. And we're going to talk about a deal that you've been working on here in just a minute, and they'll understand why. So you wanted to learn this, and so what would you say, Sophia, about your experience then with Note School and that decision to join the Note School community?
It's been great. I mean, the training is awesome. I literally have watched almost I went back and started, I think, from last summer and watched every training.
Really?
Every deal lab. Monday, Tuesday, water cooler Wednesday.
You know that I get tongue tied every time I say all of those things, right? On those deal lab calls.
So I started just binge watching all of and it really, I mean, I will admit that initially when I saw the training platform, because it wasn't what I was used to with different trainings, I was like, what, where's the roadmap? Where's the, step 1, step 2, step 3? You mean all we're going to get is, but it's wonderful. Yeah, it's great. I mean, I love the way the training is done and the platform and those deal labs and going over examples, and it's I really like it. It's it really has enhanced and broadened my knowledge of the whole note space.
Sophia, that's the thing that that we love about that. So for those of you that are watching today that don't know, we have in our membership program, which Sophia is a part of. We have 4 Deal Lab calls a week, right? We have a performing call, which is all about buying notes and flipping notes, which is what you were doing, and partials and borrowing money against notes, hypothecation/pledges. Then Tuesday we talk about creative financing, and then Wednesday afternoon we have our distressed debt call. And this is just folks, and Sophia was on there this week, right? This last week, talking about this deal, right? You had some questions about some timelines and statute of limitations and so on there. So it's real deals. And guys, we have, instead of teaching from, well, what if this happened? Or these are things that are really happening to real people out there on real deals they're working on every day.
Yep. That's one of the things I like. You can get all your questions answered and bring your deal on, and walk through, get it. You guys walk through it with me, make you feel real comfortable and moving forward.
Yeah, we've just found that has been it's just a great way to teach, and we love doing that. So it's a highlight of my week and Eddie's week, and when we go and we get to go do those. So we talked about a minute ago. I mentioned Note Expo.
Yes.
So we're going to run a commercial here in just a second for Note Expo, but you're going to be, because you are a Note School member student, then you're going to be coming to the appreciation event, and so that'll be the day before Note Expo starts on Friday, and we can talk a little bit about that, but. Let's run the Note Expo commercial here, and then we'll come back on, Sophia, and we'll talk more.
Okay.
We are at Note Expo.
It's amazing.
Phenomenal.
It's
just fantastic.
It's like recharging my batteries. I get enthused again. I meet a lot of other people in the business. I get a lot of ideas.
Connections. I've made so many friends over the years of high-level investors, high-level business people.
You get out here and see people who are doing things on a level you're not there yet. So that inspires me.
It's been a great event. Lots of good people, lots of opportunities to network, lots of education, and the vendors are great.
Meeting all the people here from all over the country, wanting to know about notes.
And then the networking is just crazy.
All these people has just been stunning.
It's like coming home to a family. And there's a lot of smart people here, and everybody's welcome in. It's always good seeing familiar faces.
I'm sure it's going to empower me and lead to much better growth.
And there really is no other place you can go to figure out what's going on, like in the guts of the industry.
We're already registered, so we have put our money down.
All right, so that was recorded that last year at Note Expo. For this year, Sophia, you'll meet all of those people that were there. They'll be there again this year. Okay. And the fella that Justin Wagner, that had the beard and the shaved head there.
Okay.
He was in Zanesville, Ohio, and in the first non-performing note cycle here a few years ago, Justin did somewhere between 300 and 400 deals on non-performing loans.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of experience. Really, really great guy. I'll make sure to introduce him to you at Note Expo, so you can get some insight from him. But he's a really good guy. So Note Expo will be November 4th and 5th. And guys, it's a 2-day trade show. All of our vendors and that we use in the business, servicers and hedge funds and note sellers and all of those things are there. And we'd love to see you. November 4th and 5th, go to noteexpo22.com or just Note Expo and you can register there. So let's talk a little bit about, and by the way, this is your first non-performing note that you're working on right now. Is that right, Sophia?
Well, actually, it's my second.
Okay.
I remember I had that little.
About your first one.
Yeah, the first little one in Kentucky that I bought. We're actually in the foreclosure process. I got an attorney. Foreclosure has been filed. I don't think it'll go all the way because it was a really small deal.
Yeah.
They only owe $13,000. Turns out we are in first place. There is nothing else. But the house is worth like $220,000. So I'm pretty sure the woman's going to come and pay off pay off something. I know we sent her a notice of default. She didn't reply. She kind of ignored. But I think now that we got the attorney involved, she called the other day and said she wanted to get a payoff. So it'll probably just get paid off.
So Sophia, I remember you bringing that one on Deal Lab. We talked about it a couple of times, right?
Yes, we did. And I wanted to do a small one to get my feet wet because I didn't want to, if I messed up, didn't want to do it on a lot of money. So I did a small one. Yep. So
this was we thought it was a second.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Behind a first.
Yes.
And so it was a $13,000 balance, right?
It was a $13,000 balance. Yeah, I paid $4,000 for it.
$4,000 for it.
Yep.
And that was what, about 2.5 months ago, maybe?
It was. I want to say April, May.
Oh, so this was literally you joined in March and you hit the.
And I immediately got one. Yep.
Okay. So now again, just so the house is worth $220,000.
Correct.
So just to be clear to everybody on the phone here, Sophia's not going to get the difference between $4,000 and $220,000.
Wouldn't that be wonderful? But no.
But you'll make what, about $7,000-8,000 on it?
Yeah, I'll double my money. So it's not bad.
Now, where did you find that one?
That one was on PaperStack, I believe.
PaperStack.
PaperStack.
And if I'm correct, I think the one that you're working on now is from PaperStack as well.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Both of them from PaperStack.
So guys, PaperStack, it's paperstack.com. You guys can go there. It is, that was started by a couple of Note School students from Orlando, TJ, and oh my goodness, I can't think of, I can see his face, Rick Allen, TJ Osterman and Rick Allen. And we have a platform inside of Notes, Colonial and Note School that is Notes Direct. And that's institutional non-performing notes. But these are notes. This is a platform where people can just go, they have a note they want to sell, and they can go list that on there. So talk to us then about the process of going to PaperStack and clicking on non-performing notes, and then why you ended up on that particular note. And it's right here in Florida where I live. And you're in Maryland.
Right. I don't have a area or a territory. I'm looking at the deal. So when I'm set up in PaperStack, that when a non-performing note comes in their platform, they send me an email, and every one that they send me, I go and research. So I go in, just do my cursor of the deal, and I'm looking to make sure there's enough equity there that I can get my money back. And I have my checklist of things that I want to see in a note. I go through and find one, and I'm really not picking the state. I don't care. I don't care where it is.
Nor did you do that when you were flipping notes either, did you?
No, I didn't. And matter of fact, I don't think I've ever done a note in Maryland or DC or Virginia.
Right. Because you're not dealing with the property, and that's kind of a freeing situation. Some people are going like, "Oh my God, I got to go see it, right? I got to go put my hands on it."
No. As a matter of fact, most of the deals that I did, my notes that I did were in Texas.
Yeah. Well, just so people know this, you brokered notes just as Eddie and I both did to Metropolitan Mortgage and Securities. Sadly, they closed up in early 2000 as well.
Right.
But we were talking earlier about Bob Repass, who was our managing director. You used to broker notes to Bob, and was that at Associates or?
Yeah, he at Bayview.
At Bayview, that's right.
At Bayview, yeah. Yep. I used to broker notes to Bayview. Yep.
Right. And as a matter of fact, Bob Repass, our managing director, and Eddie are on their way to DC, 20 minutes from where she is, to the Seller Finance Coalition, which is working with the government, right, with Congress and the Senate about taking seller finance notes out of the whole Dodd-Frank SAFE Act situation to kind of make it a little easier for people to sell their houses that want to do that with seller financing. Okay, so you're back on PaperStack, and so tell us a little bit about the house that is secured by this. And I thought I had a picture of it, and I would have pulled it up, but for some reason I couldn't find it. So tell us a little bit about the house and where it is here in Florida, and then some of the numbers on the house.
Okay, it's actually a nice looking house. It looks like the borrowers have been, taking care of it, although they haven't been paying their mortgage. They've been taking care of the house. But
wait, let me ask you a question real quick. How long has it been since they paid on this?
2013. They have not made a payment.
Some of our listeners are going, have those two, in the blue, we matched today, right?
Right.
Off their ever-loving mind. People can live in a house for 9 years and
not making a payment.
Not make a payment.
Yep,
that's a pretty good gig, right?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That would make a good rental, wouldn't it?
Right. Right.
Okay. So they hadn't paid on it since 2013. And we were looking at it and the hedges were all trimmed and there was some ornamental, shrubbery. It's a nice looking house. So you did the eyeball test. You thought, okay, that looks pretty good. So then you looked at the numbers. So tell us about that.
It's selling for $75,315 is what I'm buying it for.
Buying the note. Now remember, the note, not the house.
Correct. Right. Buying the note, $75,315. The unpaid principal is $147,000 as of August, beginning of August. Mm-hmm. And the property is worth, I got the BPO back, the property is worth $265,000.
Wow. So let me do a little explanation here for some of those that aren't as familiar as us two old veterans. Well, me, I'll say old veteran, for me. But so $75,315 is the price that Sophia is paying for the note, right? And then the unpaid principal balance means the balance that the borrowers owe on the loan is $147,000, the UPB. Right. So, and they would have accrued a lot of things. Right. Now, do I remember correctly? The borrowers weren't making the payment, but are they paying the taxes and insurance? I can't remember.
Yes, the tax. I'm not sure about the insurance, but the taxes are current. They've been paying. Right. They've been paying tax. But actually, in doing research, when I got the title back, they had a redemption certificate.
Right.
So they weren't actually always paying the taxes. They redeemed after someone bought the taxes.
Oh, okay.
But the taxes are current now.
Right. And I know you're working on the insurance as well.
Yes.
To make sure that you are the loss, that there is insurance on the house. If not, that's okay. You can force place insurance on it.
Correct.
So, and the house is worth $265,000, the BPO, the broker price opinion.
Correct.
So tell us about the process of what you think is going to happen, kind of going forward. What you're going to have to do, because there's 3 things that can happen with a non-performing loan. You could modify it for the borrowers, but they haven't paid in a long time.
10 years, that's probably not going to happen.
Deed in lieu, which means they would just give you the house, which they got a lot of equity in this. I mean, even they've got $115,000 in equity in this property.
Right.
So number 3 is going to be foreclosure. So talk about your next steps.
So the next steps will be get it signed up with the servicer. I'm going to sign it up with the servicer so I can get all the numbers and everything correct. And then get an attorney to start the foreclosure process.
Right. And so, and by the way, anything that you spend on, once you own the note for the attorney and the foreclosure process and any of that, that is going to add on to the unpaid principal balance.
Correct.
Right.
Plus the interest that plus whatever interest there is as however long the process takes.
Right. So let's say that it goes up from 147 to 155. I just want to pick a round number so it's easy for me to do the math. So that's 25,000 and then another 50. So you're $5,000.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
So and again, most likely, so Sophia can't really, unless they just gave her the house, but why would they? Right? They've got 100,000 in equity in it, so you're going to get paid, or you're going to get a house that you've got 75 plus some, whatever
fees.
That's worth 265. I mean, if that happens, that's great. Woo, right? Woo-hoo, right?
Right.
We'll do the happy dance, but if not, you've got a $75,000 profit in this thing.
Right.
So.
Exactly.
Well, we're going to be following that very closely, and just some final words. I mean, why did you get into the note business to begin with? I mean, what's your why?
I got into the note business. I wanted to get into real estate, but I didn't want to do the toilets, tenants. Didn't want to go through that. I didn't want to, get the call about my toilets leaking or, And so I just, notes was an easier way to get into real estate.
Yeah.
So that's why I got in, and I'm, my why is to build a retirement nest egg. I want to have passive income and build up my retirement, nest egg. So that's why I'm in this space.
Well, I got to tell you, you're a great lady, and you're an inspiration to these folks that are watching today. And, I can't wait to meet you in person here in about, 48 days or something like that.
Right.
We're certainly going to have some fun at the appreciation event and then at Note Expo on November 4th and 5th. But we appreciate what you've done and your experience in the business and just glad to have you. And I appreciate you being on here today and spending a few minutes and sharing your story with us. So, it's our motto at Note School, right? To, teach folks how to close more deals, right? Close more deals.
Right.
So, Sophia, thanks so much for being on.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And I'll wrap it up here and we'll see you in just a minute.
All right. Thanks.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in today to this week's edition of Note School TV. Sophia she's a great investor. She's doing really well. She's out, she's playing ball, she's swinging the bat, she's doing all of those things, and she's investing in non-performing notes. And, that's where the market is headed right now. So if you would like more information on what we do at Note School, simply go to noteschool.com/TV. Again, noteschool.com/TV. Please keep those comments coming. The comments and the questions, we are thrilled to get those and glad that you send those in. And we'll all stay tuned here in just a few minutes and hear Chairman Powell and see what he does with the Fed funds rate. That's all for this week. We'll see you next week, and have a great week. Thanks.